you rejected ESPN the first time around and decided to have a baby and to raise a family. And I think about that because just yesterday I bumped into this young woman. She's probably about the age of your daughter, maybe a few years older. She's married, and she walked up to me and she said, "I am so scared to have children." And I think this is so important because young women have been told to be afraid to have children. One reason on the right is that because the education system is so broken and they're going to hear all these bad ideas and they're going to go on social media and it's so difficult to raise children, which it's not easy, of course. And then another reason on the left is that humans are parasites on planet Earth and that we're mooching off the planet and we need less humans. And, there's the toxic mom culture, which both are really bad because at the end of the day, there is nothing more beautiful and meaningful. There's no better vitamin for your life than having children. And somebody like you who put your career on the line to go and have a family. And what I said to this young woman, I said, listen, I just stood with President Trump and I do incredible work that I'm really proud of and I really enjoy it and really nourishes my soul. But there is nothing more important to me than my children. There's nothing I'm more proud of than having kids. It's what I get to actually really keep to myself.
It's yours.
It's really mine. I mean, you went through a divorce. You don't have the husband. You've changed your career. You don't have ESPN. But look at you. You have your kids.
I have my babies.
You have your babies. And look, we'll have kerfuffles with our children, especially if they're in their late teenage years. But this message that young women are too afraid to have kids or that they should have their career first because otherwise they won't be able to have kids, or that having kids in this period of scary time in the world is not worth doing, I just think is a message that we have a responsibility to break.
Yeah.
And break it hard.
And I probably don't think about that decision to turn down ESPN enough. Because it's just what I did in that moment, just what I thought was right. But I look back and I'm like, wow, I took a big chance there too, Yeah. But I was raised in such a beautiful family that I knew that I would regret putting that priority on the back burner for this career. And so I was pregnant with my second when I finally got the call from ESPN. And I was so excited. And I went up to audition. And I was like 12 months pregnant, like just, whoa. And crushed the audition because I didn't care. Because I had this baby bouncing on my bladder. Like, let's get this over with, And then I got the call. And my husband was very supportive of taking the job. He was a stay-at-home dad. My parents knew this little girl that had been talking about ESPN her whole life. I finally did it. Because I'd been talking to them for 4 or 5 years. And they were like, this is what you need to do to get better and to work on it and to be basically worthy of working here. And they were right. And then I got there and they gave it to me. And I was like, I can't do it. And my agent at the time was like, are you high? Like, what are you doing? ESPN doesn't need you. You need ESPN. And she's like, you're going to get blackballed. They'll never call you back. I just knew I wanted at least 3 kids. And I had a dear, dear friend, Stuart Scott, the late, great Stuart Scott, I miss him every day. He's a legend at ESPN. And died of cancer almost 10 years ago, which I can't believe. And he was the one that pulled me aside he didn't even know me that well and said, don't come until you're ready because this place will eat you up, especially as a young mom. So this is in 2004. And I listened and I just said, you know what? And I prayed. I'm like, if it's meant to be, then they'll call me back. So I said no and signed another contract where I was in DC, Baltimore, and had a 3rd kid. And 3 years later, they called back. And it happened to be a better offer too.